Hi. So you probably know me as this money guy because I made two videos about becoming a millionaire and pretty much nothing else. And it would be fair to tell, based on that information, that I only care about money, but that's not true. I also am a little bit spiritual. Well, okay, not really, but I am interested in some spiritual stuff. And what I wanted to talk about today is astrology. Now, I do not personally believe in astrology, but I have nothing against it. I understand that it can be a very fun and comforting hobby to have. If you view the world through these star influences and you believe that you can somehow deduce what's going to happen in the future based on that, or get some answers to important life questions, like which partner is good for me based on their and yours star signs, that is very helpful psychologically. I mean, skeptics can say that, well, it doesn't work, it's just a pseudoscience, like it's just random stuff. But what does work? If you are going to ask a skeptical scientist, am I and my crush compatible? What are they going to say? Well, actually, it's a very complicated question, and relationships can be hard, and both partners need to work on their differences in order to blah, blah, blah. Shut up, nerd. I don't care about that. You are not being helpful. Your PhD in math or something, your skeptical intelligence doesn't really produce anything useful to me, because I want to know if I'm compatible to my crush. And if you cannot answer me, then I'll just turn to astrology, and it can do that. So this is not the part of astrology I was going to talk about today. I was going to talk about star signs or zodiac signs. And this is a very funny thing because humans love to separate each other into some neat groups based on their personality. Like we love to assign a certain personality type to individuals. I mean, men have all of this alpha, beta, sigma male stuff. And there are also more scientific ways of grouping personalities, such as Myers-Briggs personality classification system, or there is this book called Surrounded by Idiots, which also groups people into red, blue, green, and yellow personalities. But the most, by far, popular way of grouping people based on their personalities is zodiac signs, right? And this is fascinating to me because how could the time of year when I was born in possibly influence my personality? This cannot be real, right? And if you are skeptical, you might probably think, well, I know how it seems to work, because the personality descriptions may be very vague and anyone can read them and think, well, that's me, that describes me. The classical example of that is you like to spend time with your friends, but sometimes you need some alone time. And this is applicable to everyone. But if you read it, you would think, wow, this describes me perfectly. Also, human mind is pretty flexible in things like that. If someone already wants to believe in astrology, when they read something and it doesn't sound quite right, they can still try to explain why this description actually fits them. For example, if your description says you like adventure and you don't really like adventure, you just like to stay home, then you may read it and say, well, I like adventure books and movies, so I guess I like adventure after all. So that can be an explanation of why zodiac signs work. Vague descriptions, and people can also apply them to themselves even if they do not perfectly describe them. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to read zodiac signs descriptions, and then I am going to rate them by how well they fit my personality, awarding points for the parts of description that fit me, and I won't be awarding points for the parts of descriptions that do not fit me. So if the skeptics are correct, then basically all the signs should fit pretty equally well, at about the same level. And if astrology works, then my real zodiac sign is going to fit me much better than the others. So who is right? Let's jump right in and find out. Okay, I have no idea about zodiac signs, by the way. I mean, I know what sign I have. I know what signs are there, but what I don't know is which personality traits are stereotypically associated to which sign. So this will be very new to me, and when I started researching, I realized that there is no central authority in astrology, like the Bible, where everything that's in there represents the truth of astrology. When I Google zodiac signs, I get a lot of different articles and magazines that are not directly about astrology, stuff like Vogue, Cosmopolitan, and such. So the best thing I could find is this website called zodiacsign.com. Sounds very astrological. I think it will do. Let's see what the website says. There are 12 zodiac signs. Yeah, I knew about that. And each sign has its own strength and weaknesses, specific traits, desires, and attitude towards life and people. By analyzing the projection of the position of the planets, the sun, and the moon on the ecliptic at the moment of birth, astrology can give us a glimpse of a person's basic characteristics, preferences, flaws, and fears. Okay, so the exact moment of birth is important too. I kind of knew about that as well. I know that just your sign does not describe you fully, and in order to build a proper horoscope, you need also the date and the time of your birth. What is interesting to me is the professional astrologers. How do they handle stuff like time zones or daylight savings time? They have to, right? Well, I'm sure there are some ways to account for that. But I digress. So without further ado, let's start reading the sign descriptions and rate them on how well they fit me. First in the list is Aquarius, and its characteristics according to the website are element, air. Okay, I like air, I breathe it all the time, but I don't know how to interpret it. It's probably some spiritual air, not physical air. I'll just go to the next characteristic. In fact, I will only be rating a small subset of these characteristics that I know how to interpret, or at least I believe I know. Right, color, light blue, silver. Yeah, I like these colors, so this sign gets a point for colors. Quality fixed. Again, I don't know what that means, so let's skip it. Day, Saturday. Ooh, I like Saturdays. Probably my favorite day of the week. I don't have to go to work, and I don't have to go to work tomorrow as well, so that's perfect. This sign gets a point here. Lucky numbers 4, 7, 11, 22, 29. So I don't really have a lucky number, so I will be skipping lucky numbers as well. And finally, we arrive at the thing that I am most interested in, personality traits. So strength for Aquarius are progressive, original, independent, and humanitarian. Yeah, well, that is literally me. So I guess I will award 4 points here for each of the traits. Weaknesses runs from emotional expression, temperamental, uncompromising, aloof. Well, here's more misses than hits. I do tend to suppress my emotions, but I don't think I'm temperamental, and I also really like to compromise. I hate conflict. I want to compromise immediately after a conflict arises, just to end it as soon as possible. I also don't think I'm aloof. I'm too shy to approach people first, but if they approach me, then I'm very friendly and fun, I think. So I guess it's 1 point out of 4 here. Aquarius likes fun with friends, risky business, fighting for causes, and intellectual conversations. I do like fun with friends, who doesn't? And I enjoy intellectual conversations, but I hate risks. I hate risky business, and I'm too pessimistic to fight for causes. Seriously, if I read like one mean comment about the cause I support, I immediately feel, oh well, everyone hates that, so I guess what's even the point in trying? It's my weakness, so Aquarius gets 2 points out of 4. Aquarius dislikes limitations, broken promises, being lonely, dull, boring situations. It's kind of hard to judge this, since at least 3 out of 4 things are just something literally everyone dislikes. I dislike limitations and broken promises. But I kinda like being alone, and when it comes to dull or boring situations, I do not hate them as much as I hate their polar opposite situations where there is too much going on and too much challenge. I just panic when this happens. So I guess 2 out of 4. Okay, let's count all hits and misses. 1 point for color, 1 point for day, 4 out of 4 points for strength, 1 out of 4 for weaknesses, 2 out of 4 for likes, and 2... Oops, I'm out of fingers, but yeah, 2 out of 4 for dislikes. Overall, 11 out of 18. Right, let's go to the next sign, which is Pisces. Pisces. I have no idea how to pronounce it. Pisces. Pisces. Let's just call it fish. I mean, it is Latin for fish, right? So, color: mauve, lilac, purple, violet, sea green. That's a lot of colors, and I wouldn't say I like any of those in particular. I mean, sea green is nice, but I'm kind of neutral to these 4 colors, so no point for color. Day: Thursday. Thursday is much worse than Saturday, so 0 points for that. Strength: compassionate, artistic, intuitive, gentle, wise, and musical. Maybe 2 or 3 out of 5? I think I'm compassionate and gentle, not sure about wise. Might be somewhat wise, but probably it's just 30 years of life experience talking. Or 31. How old am I? Well, in any case, let's go straight to weaknesses. Fearful, overly trusting, sad, desire to escape reality. Can be a victim or a martyr. Yeah, that is pretty close to who I am. I wouldn't say I'm sad a lot. I am pessimistic, but I am usually not sad. I am kind of trying to keep a cheerful attitude. I am anxious all the time. I tend to trust people, and I definitely want to escape reality into anything, from books to TV shows to games, whatever it takes to get out of here. So let's give weaknesses 4 points out of 6. Fish likes being alone, love, sleeping, music, romance, swimming, spiritual themes. I guess 4 out of 7. Being alone is cool, and love is great. Sleeping is probably my second favorite thing to do, and I love music. However, I don't particularly like romance, as in flirting and stuff like that. And I am not spiritual, sorry. I loved swimming when I was a kid, but it was fun because, you're a kid and you swim in the sea and you play in the sand, so that's cool. But once I made a huge mistake when I went to the university. I selected swimming lessons as PE lessons, and you know what? I hated that. I almost drowned every time. Like, professional swimming is the worst. You're constantly drowning, you're constantly swallowing this chlorinated water, and I couldn't also see at all because I couldn't swim with my glasses on. So it was the worst experience of my life. Yeah, I do not like swimming. Fish dislikes know-it-all, being criticized, the past coming back to haunt, cruelty of any kind. Maybe 3 out of 4. I feel horrible and want to die when someone criticizes me. I really hate cruelty too, and for some reason I have a fear of past coming to haunt me, even though I didn't really do anything like bad in the past. But I am just anxious like that. The only thing that's not fitting me is I do not mind people showing off their intelligence. I mean, if they're really intelligent, then that's pretty cool. So if we count all of that, I think we get 13 out of 24. Not a great match, so let's keep going. The next star sign is Aries. Color red. Probably not. Day Tuesday. Again, Tuesday, I don't think so. Strength: courageous, determined, confident, enthusiastic, optimistic, honest, passionate. Wow. Well, that description is almost my polar opposite. I'm a big coward. Sorry. I am confident that I'm not a confident person. And I'm pessimistic. I can be enthusiastic, and I am determined if I really want to do something. I can be passionate about some things. Honesty is a tricky one. I don't like to lie, but I do tend to twist the truth a little bit, not to offend or hurt people, and to make them feel good in general. So overall, it's 3 out of 7. Weaknesses: impatient, moody, short-tempered, impulsive, aggressive. Well, I think I can be short-tempered, especially when I am programming something and whatever I programmed just doesn't work for some reason. I hate programming. Why am I a programmer? Good question. So, yeah, I also don't like to wait, but I guess no one does. But most of these things are not about me, so 2 out of 5 for weaknesses. Aries likes comfortable clothes, taking on leadership roles, physical challenges, individual sports. Well, I do like comfortable clothes, but for the rest, it's just no, no, no. Complete opposite of what I like. Aries dislikes inactivity, delays, work that doesn't use one's talents. Well, I don't like delays, but I can handle inactivity, and I actually prefer doing something boring and monotonous to the work that requires me to apply all my strength, because I don't like hard things. I like easy things. That is just the way I am. So 1 out of 3 for dislikes, and the total is 7 out of 21. Probably the least fitting star sign from all the ones we discussed. Let's move on. Can Taurus fit me better? Color: green and pink. Probably not. Green is a very diverse color. It can be like toxic green, or it can be like moss green, and I like moss green, but not much for the toxic green. I am also not a big fan of pink, not because it's for girls or something. It's just very loud. I don't know how to express it, but when you have a bunch of things before you, like clothes or pencils, and one of them is pink, it just jumps at you. It stands out. And that's what I mean when I say it's loud color. Not a fan of that, so let's award 0 points. Day: Friday and Monday. Okay. First of all, I didn't know a star sign can have 2 days all to herself. Greedy much? Well, I don't like Mondays, and I think Fridays are a bit overrated. I think Saturdays are better. 0 points here. Strength: reliable, patient, practical, devoted, responsible, and stable. Maybe 3 out of 6. I'm pretty responsible, reliable, and stable, but I can be impatient, as we already discussed about Aries, and I'm not completely sure what devoted and practical means in this context, so I guess I won't award points for that. Weaknesses: stubborn, possessive, and uncompromising. Okay, so 0 out of 3 here. I am very flexible, I'm not a jealous person, and I love compromises, so none of those describe me. Taurus likes gardening, cooking, music, romance, high-quality clothes, working with hands. Okay, we have music and romance again. Guess they ran out of things people can like. I mean, it is kind of obvious. Most people like music, I think. So it cannot be just one sign that likes music and everyone else is like, meh. I do not particularly like gardening. Maybe I just didn't try it, but I've never felt a desire to start gardening. I also don't like to cook for some reason. I usually try to prepare something that can be prepared with as little input from me as possible and take as little time as possible. I'm also not really into working with my hands. Again, maybe I would enjoy it if I tried, but I never had the desire to try it. But high quality clothes are always nice. So in total, 2 out of 6 here. Finally, dislikes: sudden changes, complications, insecurity of any kind, synthetic fabrics. Yeah, this is spot on. 4 out of 4. I dislike all of those. Time to calculate how Taurus I am, and it looks like it's 9 out of 21. Little better than Aries, but definitely not close. Right, our next sign is Gemini. Color: light green and yellow. No, probably not. Day: Wednesday. I enjoy frog memes on Wednesday, but it's literally in the middle of the work week, so not a fan. Strength: gentle, affectionate, curious, adaptable, ability to learn quickly and exchange ideas. That's literally me, 5 out of 5. Weaknesses: nervous, inconsistent, indecisive. Again, perfect match, 3 out of 3. Gemini likes music, books, magazines, chats with nearly anyone, short trips around the town. This is also a very good description of me. I love music, I love books, and little chats with people. I'm too shy to initiate one, but if someone starts to talk to me, I am all for it. As for magazines, well, when I was a teenager, I liked the gaming magazines, and nowadays I do read The Atlantic, which is technically a magazine, so I guess that counts. Am I Gemini? This fits really good. Gemini dislikes being alone, being confined, repetition, and routine. Ooh, well, all of a sudden, it's like total miss. I like being alone, I enjoy repetition and routine. I also don't particularly dislike staying at home and not going out for several days at a time. So 0 out of 3 here. But overall, Gemini fits me better than all of the previous signs. It's like 13 out of 18 points. Next stop, Cancer. Color white. I think I like white. Day, Monday and Thursday. Again, 2 days. None of them is my favorite, so pass. Strength, tenacious, highly imaginative, loyal, emotional, sympathetic, persuasive. Maybe 3 out of 6. I think I'm tenacious if I really want to achieve something, and I'm sympathetic. I also think I have a pretty good imagination, but I don't think I'm more loyal or persuasive than an average person is, and I struggle with expressing or even understanding my emotions sometimes. Weaknesses: moody, pessimistic, suspicious, manipulative, insecure. 2 out of 5. I am very insecure and I am very pessimistic, but I'm pretty cheerful and trusting, and I don't like to manipulate people. Cancer likes art, home-based hobbies, relaxing near or in water, helping loved ones, a good meal with friends. 4 out of 5. If home-based hobbies include like reading or playing video games, or making YouTube videos. I like being near water. I obviously like to help my loved ones, and I would enjoy having a good meal with them after I help them. But I do not think I am like an artsy person. Cancer dislikes strangers, any criticism of mom, revealing of personal life. Maybe 1 out of 4. I mean, who likes their mom being criticized? What about dad? If you are Cancer, you probably be like, yeah, roast my dad if you want. I don't really care, but my mom, I will smash your ass. Even like constructive criticism, I would just hate that. So I don't dislike strangers, and since I'm making this YouTube video, I'm basically putting all my personal information for everyone to see on the internet. So I obviously am okay with putting my personal life online. Alright, so in total we have 11 out of 21 for Cancer. Not great. If you are tired of this video, you are in luck because we are halfway through the signs. I wonder, what do you think right now? Like, what sign am I in real life? Let me know in the comments down below, or up above, or, side comments. Yeah, I really like that YouTube allows you to comment everywhere. Pretty cool feature. Let's move on. Next sign is Leo. Color: gold, yellow, orange. I deeply apologize to the Dutch royal family, but I'm not a big fan of orange, unless it's an orange cat, in which case I love them, but I love all the cats, so. And gold and yellow are also not really my thing. Day, Sunday. Well, Sundays are okay. They're pretty lazy. They do radiate this creeping feeling that the good times are over and the bad times are just around the corner, but it's still part of the weekend, so I would say okay. Strength: creative, passionate, generous, warm-hearted, cheerful, and humorous. Okay, think maybe 5 out of 6. I am pretty cheerful, humorous, and warm-hearted. I'm also liberal with my money if they go to a good cause, such as nice coffee or a charity. I think I'm creative, but probably passionate is not exactly the word that describes me well. Weaknesses: arrogant, stubborn, self-centered, lazy, inflexible. Maybe 1 out of 5. I'm extremely lazy and I procrastinate a lot, but I am very flexible and you can change my mind with good arguments. I also tend to put the needs of other people first, which is probably not a very healthy thing to do. I also don't think I'm arrogant. Leo likes theater, taking holidays, being admired, expensive things, bright colors, fun with friends. I don't know, 3 out of 6? I don't like theater, sorry theater kids out there. I'm pretty neutral towards expensive things and bright colors. I do like taking holidays though, because I don't have to do anything. And having fun with friends is great. And being admired also feels pretty good. Leo dislikes being ignored, facing difficult reality, not being treated like a king or queen. Maybe 2 out of 3. I hate getting no reaction, especially if I post objectively good content. Come on, just press the like button, write a comment saying how good the content is. Why are you ignoring it? And I also crumble when I face difficult reality. But I do not want to be treated as a king or queen. My dream in life is being this guy who posts funny videos on the internet and is pretty likable. Nothing more than that. Overall, we have 12 out of 22. Not a great match, so let's move on to Virgo. Color: gray, beige, pale yellow. I like gray, but beige and pale yellow, not sure. No points here. Day: Wednesday. Well, the show on Netflix was fine, but the day itself is not my thing. Strength: loyal, analytical, kind, hardworking, practical. Maybe 2 out of 5? I am kind and I like to analyze stuff, but I am definitely not hardworking, not particularly practical, and I don't think I'm like more loyal than the average guy. Weaknesses: shyness, worry, overly critical of self and others, all work and no play. Maybe 2 out of 4? I am shy and I worry all the time, but I'm not hardworking, and while I am critical of myself, I do not like to criticize other people unless they are doing some really bad shit. Virgo likes animals, healthy food, books, nature, and cleanliness. Probably like 4 out of 5. I like animals and nature and books, and also healthy food is great. But for cleanliness, I obviously like when things are clean, but I don't mind a bit of a mess. Virgo dislikes rudeness, asking for help, taking center stage. Yeah, 3 out of 3. I really dislike rude people. I'm very upset if someone is rude to me, and I hate it when someone is rude to other people. I struggle to ask for help because I'm afraid that if I ask for help, people would think that I'm incompetent, and I do not like to take the center stage because I'm afraid that when I'm in the spotlight, people will understand that I'm a fraud, and that makes me uncomfortable. So, to sum up, we have 11 out of 19 for Virgo. Can Libra fit me better? Color: pink and green. Okay, so we already talked about it for Taurus, no points here. Day: Friday. Interesting. Taurus also had Friday, only combined with Monday. Well, I think Fridays are overrated. They're still above average for me, so I think I'll count it as a hit. Strengths: cooperative, diplomatic, gracious, fair-minded, and social. Maybe 4 out of 5? I am more solitary than social, but the rest is literally me. Weaknesses: indecisive, avoids confrontations, will carry a grudge, self-pity. Very strong 3 out of 4, I think. I am super indecisive, and I avoid confrontations at all costs, especially to myself. I do tend to remember people who did shitty things to me, not for revenge, just I remember that. Maybe to laugh about it after a while. Yeah, but I do not usually engage in self-pity. Libra likes harmony, gentleness, sharing with others, the outdoors. Again, 3 out of 4. I have doubts about the outdoors. I dislike sleeping outside. When I wake up, I immediately want to brush my teeth and at least wash my face. And ideally, I also want to wash my whole body and my hair. If I don't do that, I feel very uncomfortable. But other things are pretty much what I like. And Libra dislikes violence, injustice, loudmouth, conformity. 3 out of 4 again. I hate violence and injustice, and people who talk too much in a rude way, also not my favorite thing. But conformity is tricky. I understand that it's bad, but I also understand why people are conforming, because they don't want to get hurt, they don't want society to not accept them, and stuff like that. So, what do we have? 14 out of 19. Not bad. Not bad at all. Can Scorpio fit me even better? Color: scarlet, red, rust. These are cool colors, I admit, but not really my thing. Day: Tuesday. No. Strength: resourceful, powerful, brave, passionate, a true friend. Oh, well. Not close. I think I'm a good friend, but on the other hand, I haven't seen most of my friends for almost 2 years, And I also have issues with sharing my feelings and just writing first for some reason. Let's give 1 point here for friendship, but for the others, no. I am not resourceful or powerful or brave and not really passionate. Weaknesses: distrusting, jealous, manipulative, violent. No, 0 out of 4. Scorpio likes truth, facts, being right, talents, teasing, and passion. Well, liking truth, facts, and being right at the same time can be tricky because everyone has these things they are wrong about that contradict the truth and facts. So the real personality test is what happens if you show Scorpio that they are wrong based on facts? Is the desire to be correct going to win, or is the love of facts and truth going to win? I don't know. But for me, I think it's 2 out of 6. I like truth and facts. I don't mind being corrected if I am wrong. I change my views frequently based on some new information. Actually, I usually want to be wrong because I am a pessimist, so it would really suck if I am correct about everything. I want to be proven wrong by things being better than I thought they are going to be. But I don't like teasing, and I like talents and passion as much as an average person. Scorpio dislikes dishonesty, revealing secrets, superficiality, small talk. Maybe 2 out of 4? I'm not sure if dislikes revealing secrets means that Scorpio dislikes when their secrets are revealed, or if they dislike revealing other people's secrets. In any case, I don't like that or dishonesty. However, I'm fine with being superficial and small talk. It's just not everything has to be the conversation about the meaning of life or like super in depth. So I think Scorpio fits me the least of all the other signs. 5 out of 21. Let's move on to Sagittarius. Color blue. Yeah, okay, I like blue. Day Thursday, not really. Strength: generous, idealistic, great sense of humor. Oh yeah, that is me. It's pretty hard to balance idealism and pessimism, but I manage. Probably because my great sense of humor helps. Weaknesses: promises more than can deliver, very impatient, will say anything no matter how undiplomatic. Maybe 1 out of 3. I do tend to overpromise because I want people to feel a bit better in short term. So I tell people what they want to hear and then deal with the consequences later. I am working on it, but it's still a struggle. I don't like to wait, but I wouldn't say I'm very impatient. And the undiplomatic stuff is the opposite of how I talk to people. Sagittarius likes freedom, travel, philosophy, being outdoors. 3 out of 4. I like freedom, and I think philosophy is pretty cool. Travel is also nice, but outdoors, not really. Not for long, anyway. Sagittarius dislikes clingy people, being constrained, off-the-wall theories, details. I don't know, 1 out of 4? I don't like being constrained, but I'm okay with clingy people. Outlandish theories are fun, unless they are pushed for some nefarious agenda. And details are pretty nice to dig into. Overall, 9 out of 16. A bit above average, but not too good. And last but not least, let's look at Capricorn. Color: brown, black. I do like black, not so sure about brown, but let's be generous and give Capricorn 1 point here. Day: Saturday. Oh yes, that's definitely my day. Strength: responsible, disciplined, self-control, good managers. 2 out of 4. I am pretty responsible, but I have a terrible procrastination problem. I do have a certain measure of self-control, but I often choose not to exercise it, if you know what I mean. I use it to learn languages, make YouTube videos, and sometimes to learn more about software engineering, but I guess the main difference is if it's something I like, I can make myself do it, but if it's something I'm really not interested in, I struggle. So let's say I have self-control but no discipline. Finally, I am managing a team at work and I think I'm doing fine, but I wouldn't say I'm doing like an exceptionally good job. In fact, I don't do much at all, but somehow things are going forward. Weaknesses: know-it-all, unforgiving, condescending, expecting the worst. Again, 2 out of 4. I am definitely a know-it-all. I love to tell a lot of random facts out of the blue. And I always expect the worst. Like, if someone is being late and is offline on social media, my brain just automatically starts planning their funeral, if you know what I mean. But I'm very forgiving, and I don't think I'm condescending. At least I try not to be. Capricorn likes family, tradition, music, understated status, quality, craftsmanship. I had to Google what understated status means in this context, and apparently it means like when people are successful but they do not show it off. That's something I like. I also like music and family and quality craftsmanship. Not a big fan of tradition though, in fact, I kinda dislike it. Capricorn dislikes almost everything at some point. Huh? What does it mean? Do Capricorns like change their tastes over time? So at some point they dislike one thing and then they dislike other thing and eventually they cycle through everything. Or do they like everything in moderation and at a certain point they start disliking everything because it's too much? I think in both cases it kind of does describe me. I went through some major changes in my worldview over time as I got older and wiser. I think most people do though, so it's not like my unique thing, but okay, I will give Capricorn a point here. In total, 11 out of 16. Not bad, but not a perfect match either. And that's it. No more signs left. Now it's time to rank them by how well they fit me, and then to reveal which sign is actually my sign. The total number of points that each sign has is different from sign to sign. I divide the number of traits that fit me by the total number of traits that I counted for each sign. And then I multiply this by 100 and I get the percentage. Then I sorted them from bottom to top, and let's look at the rankings. At the bottom is Scorpio, about 24% match, by far the worst fitting sign. The next one is Aries, 33.33, exactly 1/3 of the traits is a match for me. And the third from the bottom is Taurus, about 43% match, less than half. Then we get a few signs with 50-something% matching, and if I'm being skeptical, I would expect the majority of signs being in this area. Somewhat matching, but not really. So let's see. Cancer, Fish, Leo, Sagittarius, and Virgo are all 50%, a little bit more. Then a small step from the group of 50-something is Aquarius, which just about broke the 60% barrier. And now we get to the big three. Let's go. The third from the top is Capricorn, with almost 69% matching, which is pretty nice. The second from the top is Gemini, 72%. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, the sign that fits me the best is Libra, with almost 74% match. And now for the moment of truth. Am I a Libra in real life? Does astrology work? Did it really predict my personality? Okay, so my real star sign is the flag of the European Union. Yes, it is made of stars and it is a sign. So, but yeah, actually it is Capricorn. I am a Capricorn, I was born in December, so I am not a Libra and astrology doesn't work. Okay, wow. I cannot really say that astrology doesn't work, because now I am even more confused about it than I was at the beginning of the video. On the one hand, my real sign is in the top 3, and I also ranked them somewhat arbitrarily. I ignored some of the traits which I didn't understand what they meant, and I also probably ranked stuff like day of the week in a wrong way. I ranked them based on how much I like the actual day of the week, and I mostly like the weekend and dislike the days when I have to work, so that's probably not what they meant. It's also based on just one website. It's also interesting that we can see a certain pattern here. 3 signs are very not like me. Then we have a grouping of 6 signs, which are about 50-60% match, and then we get a grouping of 3 signs which are close to me, Capricorn being one of them. But on the third hand, none of the signs was a really good match for me. None of them was even like 75%. I never expected a 100% match, but 74 as the maximum is kinda low, to be honest. Maybe I'm just not like the other boys. Maybe I'm just a little bit different. Okay, fine. So I did ignore some of the information that the website presented. Maybe it will add some points to my sign. Let's read the description of the Capricorn. May struggle to accept the differences of others that are too far from their own character, and out of fear may try to impose their own traditional values. What? This is not who I am at all. This is something like ultra conservatives do, right? That's not me. Okay, let's just ignore that. So, in conclusion, astrology doesn't seem to be very good at describing me, but it's better than 50%, better than random chance, so maybe it does work. And I am just a very unique person, which doesn't fit well into stereotypical descriptions. So, that's it. Did you guess my real star sign based on what I've been telling you all the time? If you did, then congratulations, you are a very good astrologer. I think that's it for today. Let me know in the comments all around the place what you thought about this video. Do you think I need to make more videos about topics like that instead of, reviewing money books? And if you liked this video, then feel free to gently massage the subscribe button and the like button and every other button you see. And I'll see you next time.